Bigat nun,
Bottom liner ka talaga, Congressman Erin. Sa tingin niyo po, handa ang taong bayan na matanggap o natanggapin itong magiging pagdidesisyon ng mga senator judges? And more importantly, sa tingin niyo po ba handa ang punong mahistrado na tanggapin at sundin itong magiging kahihinatnan ng prosesong ito?
Well, dapat handa po tayo lahat. No? Dahil yan po ang tinakda ng ating saligang batas at kailangan po natin respetuhin kung ano man ang maging desisyon. Ngayon, kung ang tanong kung handa rin po ang ating punong maestrado, I think wala na siyang ibang choice, no? Kung convicted, kailangan niyang tanggapin ito dahil kung hindi niya tatanggapin, lalong mapapasama ang pangalan po ng ating punong maestrado sa kasaysayan ng ating republika. So ito yung piyado ang pumapasok sa isipan ng ating punong maestrado kung lalabanan ba niya, kung magkakaroon po ng apila pa sa Korte Suprema. We saw that even Senate President Enrile raised this point to Justice Cuevas in the opening of the hearing today.
Ano po ba ang mangyayari, Congressman, kapag halimbawa na-convict? Ano po ang prosesong magaganap? Will he relinquish his stuff there? Ano po, bilang isang government official, paki-explain para ma-imagine lang ating taong bayan.
Well, hindi katulad ng ordinaryong kaso ito sa korte. Pag merong decision, merong 15 days to appeal or 15 days bago maging final and executory ang decision. Dito sa impeachment court, wala naman appeal po ito . So automatic, kung anong po ang sasabihin ng impeachment court, no? Immediately executory. That means immediately upon receipt of the decision of the court to the person of the Chief Justice or to his office, then the decision will be immediately executory, meaning that day itself. No? So he has to refrain from exercising his powers as Chief Justice because the court has already decided.
Paano po kung hindi ni-receive ni Chief Justice itong notice from the impeachment
Well,
court?
there are ways on applying service, no? Alam ni Mark yan, no? So even if it's not clear whether it should be personal, wala naman sa rules ng impeachment court ito, no? It can be to his office, no? So dito natin makikita talaga kung ano mangyayari.
Maraming salamat, Congressman Erin Tanyada.
Of the prosecution. Majority Floor Leader.
Yes, for the closing, there are 15 minutes left for the prosecution. 15 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yes, we have 15 minutes, 30 seconds, Your Honor. For the third and last speaker, for the prosecution, may we request, Your Honor, that the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Speaker Feliciano Belmonte Jr., be recognized to close the case for the prosecution.
Granted. Proceed. Proceed.
Mr. Senate President, members of the Senate, countrymen, thank you for allowing me the honor of addressing this august chamber and the people of our great republic. I stand before you as the elected Speaker of the House of Representatives, and I stand as well as one of the 188 congressmen who signed the impeachment complaint against Chief Justice Renato C. Corona. Your Honors, together the upper and lower houses of Congress constitute a single whole. Together, we represent the people of this country, their values, their aspirations, and their sense of right and wrong. What is at stake here is the principle that those who do wrong will be held accountable by the system, by the institutions set up by the people themselves. This impeachment trial has been a long and tedious and even divisive process. But we have gone through it because our people deserve something better. We want a judiciary that is independent, not only of the influence of Malacanang or of Congress, but also from personal ambition and personal greed. We want a judiciary where no one can say anything offensive about our justices because they truly live in the light of justice and integrity and will willingly endure the harsh glare of public scrutiny because they have nothing to hide. Your Honors, this impeachment trial was conducted for the most noble of purposes. It was conducted in search of the truth. Our prosecution team has proven Mr. Corona's partiality when upon a simple letter, he engineered a ruling adverse to the Flight Attendants and Stewards Association of the Philippines, or PASAP. We have proven how the highest magistrate of the land was willing to tip the scales of justice with his own hands when it comes to the former president. When Mr. Corona handed down a TRO, effectively allowing Mrs. Arroyo to leave the country, the nation uttered a collective cry of outrage because the very spirit of public accountability was coming under attack by no less than the Chief Justice, the highest embodiment of justice in the land. And the truth, Your Honors, has been laid bare before this court. Yes, I have heard all the arguments, the legalese about these laws. But Mr. Corona himself has admitted to having amassed $2 million. That's a lot of money, Your Honors, and 80 million pesos in cash. Although, as shown by the evidence, the amounts he has illegally amassed are much more, none of them found their way into his assets, statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth. He has given nothing but glib excuses for why he did not account for them. Your Honors, even as an ordinary individual, a man of common sense, I cannot really understand what is the value of a SAL-N that wherein the bulk of one's properties and assets are not disclosed. What's its value? Just a pro forma thing. Your Honors, this impeached Chief Justice effectively wants to be exempted from the SAL-N law, in effect. He has not been declaring his true net worth through the many years that he has been in the public service. And yet he himself concurred in Supreme Court decisions where lowly public servants, as talked about here, were dismissed from public office because they did not declare their true net worth. Your Honors, he wants this court and the court of public opinion to ignore his millions of dollars and pesos undeclared in his SAL-N. He cites a law on foreign deposits and the incredible commingling of funds as his excuses for hiding such huge amounts from the public eye. My question is, why? Is he prohibited from disclosing them in his SAL? Shouldn't he be the one to set a good example for all of us? Isn't it disturbing, Your Honors, that the judiciary's highest official, the last bastion of justice for uniform application of laws all over the land, is himself the very person hiding behind these laws, bending justice, so to speak, to hide his act? Our people will not allow that, Your Honors. We are one people with one rule of law, with one standard for public conduct. Mr. Corona has spoken about a chilling effect on the judiciary. And of course, in a sense, the framers of our Constitution did want impeachment to have a chilling effect on those who would wish to betray the public trust, on those who would abuse the powers of their office for personal gain. Public office, as we all know, is a truism, is a public trust. Public officers and employees must at all times be accountable to the people, serve them with utmost responsibility, integrity, loyalty, and efficiency, act with patriotism, justice, and lead modest lives. This is the command of the Constitution. The same Constitution additionally requires that members of the judiciary must be of proven competence, again, integrity, probity, and independence. This requirement, one that is unique to judges, is not an empty reiteration of the exacting standards in holding public office. In essence, it manifests the constitutional intent to make the possession of the highest moral values a sine qua non condition for membership in our judicial hierarchy. Your Honors, I stand as the voice of an institution that, together with yours, form the legislative branch of government. The legislature crafts and passes the laws. The executive enforces these laws. But of what use are our efforts to build a better future if the head of the entire judiciary interprets the law through the crucible of partisanship or personal gain? The impeachment trial of Chief Justice Renato Corona has come down to a vote. The burden that your honors now assume does not involve a simple determination of which side exhibited a mastery of the niceties in a legal proceeding. What this honorable court is called upon to decide is far more than the entitlement of the Chief Justice to his position. In truth, what this honorable court must ultimately determine is the standard of conduct required by the Constitution of the person to whom is entrusted the leadership of the entire judiciary. Will we look forward to a Chief Justice who can be an independent person, a person with nothing to hide, and a person whose loyalty ultimately rests on the people? Or will we allow to continue in office someone who has clearly betrayed the public trust? Your Honors, I ask that you see through the character of Renato Corona and reflect whether this is the man that we want as our Chief Justice, the head of the entire judicial system for the next 6 years. And I ask that you vote according to conscience and the evidence and find Chief Justice Renato Corona guilty. May the truth be your guide, Your Honors. May the truth be your guide. Thank you. Good day.
I would like to posit some questions if there's none who will ask questions. I just want to clarify certain points.
Mr. President, I have not received any reservation from any of the members of the court.
I would like to ask the defense two questions. What injury or prejudice may arise if a depositor who is a public officer or employee of a foreign currency deposit would include that deposit or the amount represented by that deposit in his statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth?
Well, I am not very sure, Your Honor, as to what and the extent thereof insofar as damages is concerned.
No,
But that is personal
The
to the-
question is, what, in your opinion, would be the injury to be prevented or prejudice to be avoided? Warranting the depositor of a foreign currency deposit to be permitted not to include his foreign currency deposit in his statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth if he is a public officer or a public employee?
Well, may I answer now?
Yes,
Your Honor?
please.
The probability of, let's say, kidnapping extortion, and so on may come into the picture, Your Honor, because especially with the present trend of criminality in the country today, there is no assurance that one is immune from any of these offenses, Your Honor. That may be one.
Was that contemplated by in your opinion, by the framers of Republic Act 6426, as well as its predecessor presidential decrees?
If we go into the declaration of policy, Your Honor, the declaration of policy is entirely different from the disastrous consequences or unwarranted circumstances that may occur thereafter, Your Honor, because the policy behind it is to encourage.
All right. If I will related to this first question of mine, I will ask you: will a public officer or a public employee who maintains a foreign currency deposit incur the punitive penalty of Republic Act 6426 if he would reflect that deposit in his statement of assets and liabilities?
Well, I do not see, Your Honor, that probability, but it could amount to a vitiated consent, Your Honor, as contradistinguished from voluntary permission on the part of the depositor, Your Honor.
You see, I ask this question because we are forgetting that the law allows the exposure of a foreign currency deposit by express provision of Republic Act 6426 if the depositor himself would do it. There's no secrecy law in this country, monetary secrecy law, that prohibits or inhibits or proscribes the depositor from revealing his own deposit. What is prohibited is for third parties to reveal it, and that's why they're penalized. But the depositor is not. Now, that's my next question. Now, the next question is this. The first sentence of Section 17, Article 11 of the Constitution. Do you consider that sentence as a mandatory provision that requires to be obeyed by a public officer or public employee of the Republic of the Philippines?
The way I recall, Your Honor, the provision, it is a general statement on the part of the law.
I will state it to you. A public officer or employee shall, upon assumption of office, and as often thereafter as may be provided by law, submit a declaration under oath of his assets, liabilities, and net worth, period. Do you consider that a command of the people? Or was it something that can be disregarded?
I do not think it is something that can be disregarded, Your Honor.
It must be obeyed.
Correct, Your Honor, but when there are rights that arises from a different law, Your Honor, I do not see any reason as to why it cannot be availed of by in this particular instance, the depositor, Your Honor. Why the law had granted that is beyond my comprehension, Your Honor. That is a legislative function. The policy behind it may only be known to the legislators themselves. I am not privileged, neither can I divine or phantom the reason behind it, Your Honor.
Well,
all I know...
That will be our function. We are just asking if you have any notion about it.
Thank you, Your
All
Honor.
right. Now, my next question is, if it is a command, a sovereign command, Austinian concept of command, if it is a sovereign command, will disobedience of that command constitute a culpable violation of the Constitution?
Well, I would not be in a position to do so, Your Honor, or to make a statement to that unless the actual true facts surrounding the circumstances are known to me, because that will be a matter of conjecture or a surmise on the part of my part.
The Constitution speaks of culpable violation. Now, I'm sure all of us graduates of UP went through a study of Roman law.
That's correct, Your
All
Honor.
right? What is culpa? From where culpable was derived?
I mean, intentional, Your Honor.
Huh?
Intentional, Your Honor. Culpa.
No.
No intent, Your Honor.
Culpa. What is culpa?
Crime, Your Honor. The way I call it.
There are 4 kinds of culpa. Culpa lata or magna, culpa levi, culpa levissima, culpa aquiliana.
I am not.
Now, we go to elementary school book in Roman law. What is culpa?
Well, I am not, as of this moment, Your Honor, I am not very well in a position to recall. Maybe I was absent when it was discussed by my professor, Your Honor.
Well, that's your bad luck.
And besides,
And I think that this is material in the consideration of this provision of the Constitution. What is the difference between culpa and dolus?
culpa, if I recall, dolus is intentional, di ba? Dolus is intentional, Your Honor, if I recall correctly. Culpa is negligence, something like that. I'm
Fault.
not very sure. Because
Fault.
fault, through fault.
Deserving of blame.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, disobedience to the provision of Section 17, first sentence, do you consider that as deserving of blame?
If it is intentional, Your Honor,
No.
then definitely,
It does not call for any intent. Where in that provision will you find intent?
well, I think this is the provision or a statement as may be required by law, Your Honor. Saan yung portion?
Anyway, I'm asking this question for our guidance. For our guidance, as based on your opinion, both sides. I would like to hear both sides about this. What is the position of the prosecution? Can you help us in dividing what is culpa?
Well, when it comes to refer to culpable violation of the Constitution, Mr. President, according to the records of the Constitutional Commission, culpable violation of the Constitution is understood to mean willful and intentional violation of the Constitution and not violation committed unintentionally or involuntarily or in good faith or through an honest mistake of judgment. And it implies deliberate intent, perhaps even a degree of perversity, for it is not easy to imagine that individuals in the category of these officials would go so far as to defy knowingly what the Constitution commands. That is what the records of the Constitutional Commission defines or show what culpable violation is, Mr. President.
All right. Thank you very much. I have no more question. I do not know about the other members of the court if they have any questions.
Mr. President,
Majority Floor Leader.
the court is ready to retire, Mr. President.
All right.
So may I ask that the Sergeant at Arms make an announcement?
Please all rise. All persons are commanded to remain in their places until the Senate President and the Senators have left the session hall.
Mr. President, there being no other business for the day, I move that we adjourn until 2 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, May 29, 2012.
Any objection? The motion of the majority floor leader is approved.
Okay. At natapos na po ang paglilitis ngayong araw, ang 43rd day ng impeachment trial ni Chief Justice Renato Corona.
Alam mo, Kathy, yung mga huling katanungan ni Presiding Officer Enrile, each weighed a ton, and those were heavy legal questions na talagang medyo nahirapan.
Oo nga medyo
sagutin.
thrilled kayong tatlong mga abogado dito, samantalang kaming hindi nag-aral ng batas ay hindi namin naiintindihan kung bakit exciting itong mga tanong na ito. Paliwanag nga, Attorney Joey, Attorney Trixie.
Parang last 2 minutes ng basketball
Oo
game,
nga
score is tied. Tapos, actually, last 3 seconds, no? So, ang tanong dito ni Senate Presiding Officer Enrile ay kung paano, unang-una ang tinanong niya, ano ba ang mandato ng Code of Ethics ng Republic Act 6713 na nagdidirekta na mag-declare ng assets and liabilities sa kanyang SALN? At pinuntahan niya mismo ang wording ng batas at sinabing ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng salitang shall. Sa aming mga abogado, pag lumitaw ang word na shall, mandato yan. Mandatory, kailangan sundan. Wala kang discretion whether or not susundan mo yon. So, nakikita natin kung saan pupunta na yung argumento. Hindi nakasagot kaagad si Defense Counsel Justice Cuevas at iniintay sana natin ang kanyang sagot dun sa word na shall. Ngunit bago pa nakaabot doon ay nagtanong na uli si Senate Presiding Officer Enrile at tinanong niya ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng culpable violation of the Constitution. Diniconstruct niya yung words na culpable violation at pinuntahan niya yung word na culpa. Doon medyo na-excite na yung mga abogado. Nakita na natin.
May sinay pa siya, apat
may
na
mga
kinds.
different kinds of culpability, meaning different kinds of fault. Kasi ang lumalabas, tapos kinarakterize pa niya, binifeed din niya, sinabi niya, ano ba ang difference ng fault, ng culpa, dun sa dolo. Ang culpa is lack of intent, or pwedeng negligent, or dolo. Kasi sa criminal law, ang requirement for intent to commit a wrong. Pero pagka may mandatory law at nagsasabing shall at special law ito, hindi na nagmamatter whether may intent to do wrong ka o hindi. Ang importante is na hindi mo ginawa yung nire-require ng
Although,
batas.
mukhang sa dulo, Attorney Joey, mukhang na-distinguish naman yung word na culpa versus the term culpable violation of the Constitution. Pero mukhang hinayaan na agad ni Senator Enrile yon. Pero ano yung pinupuntirya niya dun sa pagtatanong niya dun sa dulo? Bakit niya binabalik dun sa mga fundamental questions on culpable violation of the Constitution and the nature of the requirement of the Constitution to declare?
Parang ngumiti lang siya no? He was trying to prove something and I think he was successful in doing so.
Medyo nakaka-excite nga itong balitaktakan, kasi bumabalik tayo dun sa mula unang-una pa nating pinag-uusapan na ano ba yung culpable violation of the Constitution para masabing mako-convict ang ating punong mahistrado. So yun nga, ano ba ibig sabihin ng culpa? Yung culpa para sa ating mga nanonood is isang Latin term na parang ang sinasabi nga kahit na hindi intentional or wala kang malis sa iyong ginawa, kapag hindi mo sinunod ang mandato, sabihin na natin ng batas or ng Constitution, meron kang sinasabing culpable violation of the Constitution. Itong sinasabi kasi ni Chief Justice, in good faith siya na hindi nagsama ng dollar accounts niya sa kanyang SALN. Ibig sabihin, wala siyang malis, wala siyang intent. Ibig sabihin, kahit wala kang intent, basta hindi mo sinunod yung mandato ng Constitution, ikaw ay pwedeng ma-impeach or ma-convict. Lamang, nung tinanong niya sa prosecution naman, anong inyong intindi sa ibig sabihin ng culpable violation of the Constitution, si Congressman Fariñas naglabas ng Constitutional Commission records na sinasabi doon ano ang intention ng commissioners sa phrase na culpable violation. Ang lumalabas doon, ang intent ng ating framers ng saligang batas, yung mga sumulat ng saligang batas, parang sinasabi nila, ang culpable violation, ibig sabihin, kailangan may intent may malis. So biglang nagkaroon ng saysay yung depensa ni Justice Corona. Kaya biglang
Kasi good
umatras.
faith yung
Yes.
sinasabi
Kaya
nila.
biglang umatras si...
Siguro Kati, iwan na natin ito kasi mukhang mga abogado lang na na-excite. Ano? At Attorney Trixie, balikan natin yung final speech. Dinala nila si Speaker Sonny Belmonte,
Yes,
hindi siya kasama sa prosecuting team or hindi man lang siya spokesperson. And he tried to bring this to a higher level, yung level mismo ng gobyerno and yung kumbaga epekto niya sa ating panggobyerno, sa judiciary, sa legislature,
co-equal branches
sa
ng
co-equal
government.
branch. Anong tingin mo doon sa kanyang naging closing speech?
Maganda, very elegant ang pag-deliver po ng House Speaker ng kanyang very well-prepared na speech. Bukod may obligasyon kasi ang huling speaker na i-sum up, ilabas yung lahat ng argumento para ma-refresh yung minds ng mga senators, jurors, at doon na lang yung mga fine points ay hindi na niya kailangan punteriyahin pa. Ang importante, imalagay rin niya sa konteksto ng kasaysayan yung kanyang yung magiging epekto ng hatol dito. At mukhang very effective naman si House Speaker Belmonte dun sa regard na yan.
He also appealed to his fellow lawmakers, no? Kasi nilagay niya ito sa konteksto na isa ako sa inyo. Anong masasabi mo dito sa paggawa niya ng ganitong style?
Ang tingin ko napaka-effective nung ginawang mungkahi ni Speaker Belmonte, no? Napakaganda nung kanyang binigkas na ang ating punong mahistrado ay yung dapat nagsiset ng magandang halimbawa sa lahat ng taong bayan, sa lahat ng public officials, at hindi dapat nagtatago sa tinatago. Kumbaga, pinakamataas no moral standards ang ating inaasahan sa ating Chief Justice. So yun ang katanungan na hinahain niya sa mga senator judges. Pumapasa ba sa ganong klaseng standard ang ating punong-punong mahistrado?
Pagkatapos kasi ni Attorney Manalo, Justice Cuevas, we were thinking baka maganda din sana kung humingi din ng kaunting panahon si Congressman Fariñas para sumagot muna dun sa mga punto ni Attorney Manalo at ni Attorney Cuevas. Pero hindi nila ginawa yun. Would you have wanted that to have taken place Attorney Trixie? Pero sagutin niya, Attorney Trixie, makalipas natin, panoorin muna natin itong prosecution na nasa press conference ngayon.
Laki ang paniniwala namin, no? Na because of the strong evidence at yung katapusan itong oral arguments na makukumbinsi namin ang mga senador. Pero as to the votes itself, maghihintay na lang kami bukas because bukas pa ang botohan. We thought na after the closing arguments magkakabotohan, pero kanina ang decision is tomorrow.
Sir, Cara David po, Channel 7. Kanina po pinupunto ng depensa na may conflict daw dun sa batas ng SALN at saka dun sa Foreign Currency Deposits Act. Tapos ang sinasabi nila may conflict nga daw at hindi daw madedeklara na unconstitutional. Pero kayo po, ang sinasabi ninyo, walang conflict yung dalawang batas na ito. Kayo po ba dinedeclare ninyo yung inyong mga dollar deposits kung meron man?
Una muna, bago si Congressman Fariñas. Una, kanina nagtataka kami bakit ilang minuto ang inubos ng defense just to rebut yung sinasabi nilang, allegedly sinabi raw ng prosecution na unconstitutional ang Republic Act 6426. Ito yung Foreign Currency Deposits Act. Gusto lang po namin linawin na sa speech ko po, sa speech ni Congressman Fariñas, ang sinasabi namin, wala kami sinasabing unconstitutional ang Republic Act 6426, that's clear. Ang sinasabi lang namin na yung 6426 is not applicable in the case at bar. Ibig sabihin, ang applicable dito is the constitutional provision, Article 11, Section 17, and the SALN law, which is 6713, RA. Hindi dito applicable, walang prohibition, di ba? At naliwanag yon nung nagtanong pa si Senate President Enrile. Tapos yung second question, with respect naman dun sa dollar, ako personally, meron akong dolyar, pero maliit na maliit lang. Naka-declare. Kasi ang ginagawa ko sa sarili ko, yung dollar, kino-convert ko sa peso. At ang declaration ko is peso. Congressman Fariñas?
Of course, nakadeclare lahat yung akin. Malaki dahil commingled. Ang dami-dami namin. Dami-dami namin umahawak nun. Kaya malaki-laki dahil commingled. Pero yung akin, commingled pero nakadeclare. Yung iba, peso. Peso, it's hard. Peso nila, may dollar ako. Siguro sa ngayon, nasa $6,000. Oh. Hindi, I don't maintain dollars because very unstable, unlike what the Chief Justice is saying. Before, nasa 56, ngayon, nasa 45. And then they say, it's going down. And as a public official, we have to learn to love our own currency. Di ba? Oo. We only buy when you go out and everything, but I don't maintain, mababa pa ang interest.
So, sir, yung $6,000 that you have, is it declared in your SALN as dollars or you converted it to pesos?
Peso. It's declared as peso. Kasi cash, it's cash. You convert it.
May we ask the Speaker about... Speaker, yung question po kanina, yung tungkol po dun sa conflict daw po, kasi may conflict daw, sabi ng depensa, yung SALN at saka yung foreign currency deposits law. The question is, ano yung position ninyo doon? And second is, if you have dollar deposits, do you declare it in your SALN?
The money, yes. Not necessarily in dollars, but the value is yes. Oh. Yeah. At saka isa pa, remember this, I don't think there is any requirement na sasabihin mo PNB branch 1 or anything like that. Yung sinasabi mo lang na ito yung dollars ko, di mo naman sinasabi kung nandito ito sa bangko ito, nandito sa bangko ito. But you have to declare that. You have to at least be open about it. And that was my whole point lang. I was really listening to the legal arguments, which I have to admit are quite good for ordinarily, But I was really amazed that a Chief Justice with that much cash can actually get away with it without, yun ang talagang, I was really, kung meron kang $2,000, $3,000, I think it's too much to expect that you will remember that. But when you have 2.4 million, and I think that is his own estimate, because actually people who were trying to analyze the ins and outs of the AMLA report come to the conclusion that if you put in everything that came out and then everything that came in, that went in, considerable yung money yan, without even talking about was there a balance, a starting balance at all or not. Marami mga kon yun. But anyway, it wasn't necessary to discuss all of that. Basta ako lang, I could not hide myself, prevent myself from sounding incredulous that you can actually do that.
Napanood niyo po ang bahagi ng press briefing na kasalukuyang isinasagawa ng prosecution. Napansin po natin na kasama po dito si House Speaker Feliciano Belmonte na siya ngang nag-deliver ng final speech para sa prosecution team.
Balikan natin, Cathy, yung closing naman ng defense. Sumingit si Attorney Manalo, tinapos po ito ni Attorney Cuevas. Anong tingin mo dito, Attorney Joey?
Sa aking palagay, ito'y personal na observation ko lang, parang mas naging effective siguro kung si Attorney Manalo ang nag-closing dahil yung kanyang statement on closing, very forceful. Hindi na niya inaatake yung bawat fine point ng batas. Parang ginawa ni Justice Cuevas yun. Pero sa ganitong klaseng pagkakataon, mas gusto mong yung pinaka-effective na public speaker mo na mag-a-address doon sa issues na malapit sa puso at isipan ng mga husgado, yun ang gusto mong huling impression na iwan at huling magsasalita ay yun ang dadalhing mensahe sa mga makikinig.
Attorney Trixie, balikan ko yung mga naging katanungan ni Senator Enrile bago yung mga huli na-excite nga kayo. Pero tinanong din niya, what harm will it do to the Chief Justice if he declares his dollar accounts? Tapos, will a public officer who maintains a dollar account be punished if he declares his US dollar account in his SALN? Ano sa tingin mo yung gustong palabasin ng presiding officer sa kanya naging pagtatanong sa depensa?
Ang malinaw ay ang pinupuntirya dito ng Senate presiding officer ay yung argumento ng depensa na may good faith compliance at hindi siya maaaring pilitin i-disclose yung kanyang dollar accounts, may sal and law man o wala. So ang sinasabi ni Senate President Enrile dito is, kung i-report mo? Is there a punishment kung ni-report mo? Ano ba naman ang ikasasama kung ni-report mo to dun sa SALN nyo? Ang tumbok nun, ang next logical question dun is, bakit kailangan itago? Bakit kailangan mong i-avoid ang declaration mo sa SALN mo? Ang original na sagot ni Justice Cuevas ay yung possibility of extortion, kidnapping, etc. Pero argument yun not against the secrecy of bank deposits, but actually against the SALN law itself. So hindi siya ganun ka-effective bilang pangtanggi dun sa pinupuntirya ni Senate President Enrile.
Last question ko kay Attorney Joey. Attorney Joey, from what we've heard today, at syempre magpapahinga ngayong gabi, magdidesisyon na bukas, makaranang ilang buwan tayo nagsama, ano yung iyong hope and yung wish mo na gawin ng mga senador para sila ay makapagbigay ng desisyon?
Siguro ang pinakamagandang palatandaan dito ay yung huling salita na binigkas ni Speaker Belmonte na hanggang ngayon na hindi ko makalimutan. Ang kanyang minungkahi is, "May the truth be your guide." Ito ang kanyang mungkahi sa mga senator judges bago niya itapusin ang kanyang closing statement on behalf of the House of Representatives. So siguro, maski sa atin, yun din ang ating mungkahi na rin sa ating mga senator judges, lalo na dun sa mga kung sakali makikinig dito sa programa natin, na sana ang katotohanan ang kanilang maging gabay sa kanilang desisyon.
Maraming salamat, Attorney Joey. Attorney Trixie, is this still a celebration of lawyering in the Philippines? Anong tingin mo sa performance ng mga abogado, whether congressman or private defense counsel sa araw na ito? Tapos na ang trial ng first impeachment trial ng ating bansa na nabuo, Attorney Trixie.
Natapos.
Well, I think it raises the bar for performance ng bawat abogado. Kailangan ganyan tayo kagagaling. Ganyan na ini-expect ng taong bayan na performance sa bawat abogado.
Thank you, Attorney Joey Bernabe. Bukas po ay darating na ang pinakaantay natin ng buong sambayanan kung kailan na magdidesisyon na nga ang mga senator judges kung guilty nga ba o hindi ang punong mahistrado.
Pero hingan muna natin ang update si Sharina sa harap ng Senado.
Naging mainit nga ang palitan ng argumento ng dalawang kampo kanina, pero sa kabila nito medyo nabalot din ang emosyon ng ilan bago pa man ang last day ng impeachment trial ni Chief Justice Renato Corona. Para sa prosecution at defense team, ito na ang katapusan ng kanilang paninindigan sa kanilang pinaglalaban sa halos 5 buwan ng kanilang pinagsamahan. Dagdag pa dito ay wala silang pinagsisisihan kung sino ang kanilang pinanigan, lalo-lalo na ang abogado ni Chief Justice Renato Corona na siyang nasasakdal sa impeachment trial na ito. Bukas ay magbobotohan na mga senator judges base sa kanilang pinaniniwalaan. 16 na boto para mapaalis sa pwesto si CJ Corona at 8 boto naman para siya ay mapawalang sala. At yan ang pinakahuling balita dito sa labas ng Senado. Back to studio with Kathy and Mark.
At inaantabayanan na natin, Kathy, ang pinakamalaking desisyon. Ilang buwan din tayo nagmanman and we're honored to be in the front, to have a front seat to observe history. Napakagaling.
Yes, Mark, bukas nga, Judgment Day. Dapat po ay subaybayan nyo. Manood po kayo. Day 44, dito lang po sa PTV4.